I didn't do 25 yet.
I did 25 push-ups.
12 and a half. 25.
There we go. Now Jason did 2. I did my 25 in just 1, though, so I'm a little bit more efficient than Jason.
I'm a half as efficient. I had to go 12.5 first. But.
We're wearing hats right now.
Yeah, and I can already see it. You're going to draw them onto us on the podcast.
Yeah, I probably will. At least for a few frames for the sake of this. We just decided to wear hats. We needed something to distract ourselves. We needed something to hype ourselves up, so we put on hats and we did push-ups. And now we're here.
I didn't need to be hyped up. I think that was a you problem.
True.
It's never a me problem. I'm always hyped. That's just something about me. Once you get to know me, you'll realize that. Jonathan, on the other hand, he's kind of moody. He's kind of in and out, you know.
Well, the problem is, I don't know if we're still in the intro section or not, so I don't know if I want to go into why I'm so moody. Apparently, this is going to be another Explore Our Psyches episode.
Hopefully not. Okay, now we're in the actual episode, see?
Okay, here we are.
I did a transition.
That's nice. With a snap of his fingers, we transition into the real episode. Jason secretly flips the switch every time.
The snap should cut to the intro, and then the intro plays, and then...
Oh, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then now we're just explaining what they've already seen.
Yeah, we've already seen that happen, yeah.
But that's okay, because I know the secret to getting us started in these episodes so that we don't lag behind. We just need one good topic, and then the rest just flow forth from there. So, guys, right now, you can't breathe the air. The air is bad. That's our topic.
Dude, what a fire topic. Oh!
Whoa! Whoa! No, but it's very concerning. Like, I see the pictures, and it's just awful. It's like sometimes it looks like putrid green. Sometimes it's like this orange smog. And I still don't understand, like, chemically, because I heard people talking about how, like, you know, California gets wildfires all the time. I'm kind of jumping into this. I doubt anybody doesn't know what we're talking about. The wildfires in Canada that have caused this major, like, chemical smog problem in New York.
If somebody on the West Coast, or even, like, the not Midwest, it's Central America, I guess is the term. Like, if you live in, like, Colorado or something, do you call that Central America, I think?
Central America
Central America.
Central America is between South and North.
Central United States, not Central. Central America
Bro, you confused.
Central America is like Guatemala and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Central United States. But you know what I'm saying? There's not really... There's the West Coast, there's the East Coast, there's the Midwest, which is really just, like, the Great Lakes area. What do you call, like... What do you call... I don't know, like, Colorado, Kansas? Like, what do you call that?
I don't know.
Central United States?
But we can call them...
Anyways, if
the center zone.
I think if you're not on the East... I think it's only mostly affecting the East Coast and the Northern East Coast. Like, probably if you're... Because it's way worse up in, like, the Northeast versus where we are in the Carolinas.
Yeah, they still put out the warnings though for the air quality.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So it's far-reaching.
If somebody's in Florida or like Texas, it's probably not an issue.
But yeah, what I was gonna say about California though is they get wildfires all the time, but you never hear about stuff like this happening because of it.
That's not entirely true.
Really, I haven't heard of it.
There was wildfires, I think, like a year ago or something, where people were posting a lot of pictures where, like, the sky was blood red and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So,
well, yeah, like, right on site, but, like, we're talking, this is in Canada,
no.
We're seeing it all over America.
Well, yeah, maybe not
US.
quite the extent.
Yeah.
But it's not, like, right at the area. It's a state away, at least, is what I saw.
Is the veracity of this epidemic, I don't want to call it an epidemic, we can't use that word anymore, pandemic, no, is the word we can't use anymore. Is it caused by, like, the severity of the wildfire or its location more?
Can you define veracity for me? That sounds like something you just
made up. The ferociousness, the intensity.
Oh, veracity. I'm just kidding.
It sounds like a
Is this a fidget spinner pen?
Yes.
Where did you get this?
All the pens in the house just... All the pens in the house just end up... Welcome to the ADHD podcast.
Dude, oh no. You're going to hear this grinding metal noise the whole time because I'm going to be playing with this the whole time. I'm just kidding.
All the pens in the house eventually end up in my room. It's like
all pens.
You know that like kind of trope in like fiction where it's like when things disappear, they end up here. You're missing socks. They're in my drawers.
In my drawer. It sounds like the boogeyman is threatening there. You're missing socks. They're in my
every
drawer.
writing utensil in the world eventually ends up in my room. One way or another.
There's a lot. I didn't even know. Why are there just random Sharpies here? Or no, they're like gel pens. That's crazy.
I'm trying to combine them all together to create the ultimate writing device.
We got way off track because we were talking about the veracity. The veracity of what? What was your question?
What is making it so bad? Is it the location or how big the wildfire is? Or both?
Are you talking about the what's making the smoke so bad?
Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, there's just across the whole like northern Americas right now. So especially Canada, and then like even in like our dad was talking about in Pennsylvania how dry it is. There's just like a huge dry snap. Something about the weather conditions making it extremely dry. So that's why the fires are so bad, and I would imagine
it's the California.
I would imagine that the dryness is not helping the I guess the smoke in the air. It being so dry, not even just in Canada where the fires are happening, but it being dry in like New York, for example, is making the smoke linger in the air longer. I guess. I mean, I feel like if it's more humid in the air, the smoke kind of like
it condenses
up
into
and then
other
and
stuff,
then it like
and then eventually
falls down and
then lands on surfaces.
It wouldn't
and
stay in the air as much.
I know the location is part of it because we were just talking about what is it? It's like creating ozone. There's this chemical reaction with like the smog in the city.
Oh, that was something unrelated. But yeah, smoke in cities it combines with like nitrous oxide, I think, is what it is, and NO2 from car emissions, and it creates ozone, which is harmful.
So it's just a perfect coincidental recipe for disaster.
But yeah, I mean, it's probably in like NYC, like city areas, it's probably concocting some absolutely terrible fumes, which is why that thing you sent me, it said New York City is like, or maybe you didn't send me that, but I saw somewhere.
I did.
Is saying that New York City was rated the worst.
Yes, that was
air polluted.
That's just awful.
Because all that is combining with the smoke to make like
it's messing with our plans.
A cocktail of lung killing.
How bad do you think Pennsylvania is? Because we're going up to Pennsylvania.
Before you go into that, I was going to say the other thing is I think there's just something about the wind patterns right now. Like whatever they call it, the nor'easters, whatever. That's just blowing it all to us.
Mother Nature is just conspiring against everything.
Basically.
I was out of touch for this when it first happened though. And then I heard like it was on the radio. And for some reason on the radio they do like the weather alerts, like the beamed whatever. I don't remember.
Wait, they made EAS a dubstep now? The emergency alert system is
well, they played on the radio. They played on the radio. On the radio, they used to play the sound, and then they would have like an automated voice say what the alert is about. Now they just play the sound, and it's like, you look it up. The radio was
maybe they
playing.
don't have a message for this exact scenario.
True. I feel like it wouldn't take long to throw them together. It's like a roboticized voice.
Look, if you checked your weather app, you would see that it says... Oh, actually, mine is back to saying good now, that our air quality is good.
Okay.
So I guess the emergency warning ended for us where we are.
Yeah, I don't know how bad it is still in New York. I told you I didn't check the date on that thing I shared with you about the air quality in New York. But so when I first heard that, the radio was playing down here, and I was like, "What's that all about?" Because it's stupid that they don't tell you. I was going on one of my classic rants about this doesn't make sense because it doesn't. Like it's like something bad is happening, something bad is happening, something bad is happening, something bad is happening. Would you care to tell me what? And then my dad was like, dad.
No, that's all you need to know. Go to the store, buy bread, water, toilet paper.
No, that would actually be bad. Inside. You don't want to go outside. Imagine somebody goes out and does that and they have like an allergic reaction. But then our dad was like, he told me, it was probably about the air quality. It was the air quality. I've never heard someone go about pollen. That's all I knew. I didn't know about the wildfires. And so then I heard about it later and I was like, oh my goodness. And it was like my reaction to that Ohio train incident. Did we ever talk about that?
No, that was past our time. Or before our time that we came back.
This leads into another thing I was going to talk about how...
Oh, yeah, the Armageddon?
We have... Yes. Dude, you look like so many things all at once with that hat on. You look like an artist. You look like a golfer. You look like so many things.
I just want to say my phone... So the past, week, it said it's had, the air quality warning. But it does say here at the bottom, it says the primary pollutant is ozone.
Yeah,
typically elevated due to traffic, fossil fuel combustion, and fires, and can be transported far distances.
Well, okay. The ozone problem kind of stopped being a major thing after we got rid of the aerosols, but I mean, if you can create ozone that easily that it's now a threat...
Why don't we move the ozone somewhere
There's gotta
else?
Be, and now we have worms that eat plastic and robots that collect trash in the Atlantic. Why can't we just send something up in the atmosphere to eat all the global warming? It seems like we should be able to do this.
Because so the problem, this all ties back to the Armageddon. You're just begging for us to talk about it this
Bro,
point.
that hat simultaneously makes you look so much older and so much younger.
Am I gonna need to take it off?
It's a newsboy cap that we got from our grandfather.
You with this hat is me with this fidget spinner for the rest of the episode.
Technically, I mean, I took it for myself. Jason took a fedora instead, both again from the grandfather. But neither of them really fit because our granddad, he had a small head, and we got big heads,
or maybe average heads.
Yeah, sometimes my head looks kind of big, but I wonder if it's my hair.
I think your head is bigger than mine.
Yeah, I definitely think mine's bigger than yours. Enough about our heads, though. What were we talking about?
We were talking about how the guy who made the plastic-eating worms mysteriously died. The guy who...
and all of his worms died,
No, really,
too.
though. I feel like...
No, all of his worms ate his corpse.
The problem...
Brutality.
On a less conspiracy level, the problem is that people can invent that stuff all they want, but at the end of the day, the people who have the power to actually implement those things... are within the government, and the
it's
people
like
within
Elon
the government...
Musk's whole... Oh, yeah, I'll solve global hunger, world hunger, if the UN will agree to it. And then, of course, they don't. Not siding with Elon Musk on that, but I mean, I did admit when we talked about that, they made a good point. No one really cares.
Yeah, the problem is that the people in the government, at least some of them, I mean, their jobs are to be politicians, and at some point, they just literally don't care.
That's their job, is to make other people not care as much as they do. It's can you please just, I'm having a grand old time. Can't you just, be okay with this?
Politicians are basically like how in the olden days, you'd have rich people whose occupations was to socialize at parties.
Yeah.
That's like politicians.
They're just like PR people. Their job is to just be like, settle down.
Yeah, no, they are like the instruments of a real-life ARG.
Yes!
They're trying to turn our society into an ARG.
I black-pilled Jason, by the way.
Black-pilled? Is that a thing?
That's like the... here's the thing. There's 75 different definitions for every single pill. The red pill originally just meant
not what it means now.
Yeah, now it's become a conservative thing. Or you're based or whatever. Well, now based doesn't even mean... I hate terminology.
It means you're based.
But it came from the Matrix, which just meant things are not what they seem. Take the red pill and you'll see what I mean. So it's basically just, there's more to this than meets the eye, is what the red pill meant. The black pill is in its most general term, I've heard it used to just be everything's bad. Secretly, everything's falling apart. The world is coming to an end.
Armageddon.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So.
No... I mean, I'm exaggerating that for fun, but I do think that politicians just don't have anywhere close to enough motivation to actually care about anything.
Yeah, because, they're so immune to all these problems, they're literally trained by their cohorts to not have sympathy, because they can't, they're on another realm. They're living in heaven, we're down here in hell.
I mean, their occupation, their livelihood just basically depends on them giving nice, good answers to questions and pretending like they're getting things done. And honestly, the more they actually were to do work and get things done, the less they would be a public presence, because they'd be nose to the grindstone. The less they'd be
yeah, when they actually do stuff, then it becomes controversial, because people have to have opinions on how well they did what they did, if what they did was right. If they just sit there and do nothing, then it's just that person, they're just doing their duty.
It's easier for a politician to basically just
sit there and tell people to
cool ideas down. And basically...
I'm going to make things better. Things will happen. Change. Hope.
and then just keep saying that and get paid for it. But that's a topic.
Now's a good time to discuss what qualifies as political. We say we don't get political on this podcast, but we don't get controversial. I don't think anybody doesn't hate the government.
The statements we made, you couldn't.
Welcome to the age of anarchy.
You couldn't classify them down one aisle or another. That's a statement I'm willing to make about any politician. Well, that's actually not true. Not any politician, but politicians in general. It's a stereotype. I'm sure there are politicians who have been good, like Jimmy Carter. But
dude, it's weird. I have this weird thing where I become aware of things that like normal people already. I like didn't even know much about Jimmy Carter's presidency until recently.
Exactly, because he wasn't a good president, but he was a good person.
Yeah.
So he didn't fit into the politician mold. That's why he doesn't even really count.
Bro. Well put. He wasn't a good president, but he was a good person.
A politician.
Bruh.
I mean, he had a politician job, but he really wasn't fitting the politician. What's the term? The archetype that I just described, because he actually did things and continued to do things.
Nowadays, the idea is.
But he hasn't died yet.
Oh no! Wait, what was it that
he's in hospice?
He's
going to die soon.
Oh, okay. Well, geez, dude, what if he died right when I said that? Imagine
that'd be crazy. Dude, no way. What if by the time this podcast comes out?
No, that would be awful. Dude, should I talk about how I can destroy clocks with my mind?
Sure.
I can destroy clocks with my mind. If you recall, there was an episode way back. Actually, technically, it was the start of this season, but it was, there was a huge, how do you pronounce the H word? I messed it up last time.
Hiatus.
There was a huge hiatus between the first episode and the second. But I talked about how I was just staring at a wall clock and it fell off and banged into the ground. It would never been loose or anything. It was just bolted to the wall and then it just dismantled.
It wasn't bolted to the wall.
Okay, it was nailed in the back and then hanging.
It never
even wobbled
on a small nail that's in the wall.
The nail never even wobbled though until I stared at it. But now I stared at a while ago. I stared at a clock, and I was thinking about wow, it's got so many internal mechanisms. What if it just stopped working? And then a few minutes later, it's oh, the clock's broken. And I was like, wait, what? Which clock? This one that you were staring at a while ago. And I was like, what? So I can destroy clocks by staring at them. I went over to a friend's house. They had a big clock on the wall. I stared at it, and then I stopped myself. I was like, no, I'm not doing this to them. So yeah, that's my superpower, is that I can destroy clocks with my mind. Back to smog and government and air pollutants.
Sure.
The Ohio train accident, that was bad.
That's such old news.
Yeah, I know. This is what I was talking about, though. Because I have this list of so many topics, and this is the problem why we can't have these hiatuses, hiatus. We miss out on so many things that need to be talked about, but then now that it's too late, we just have this huge backlog.
What's left to say about the Ohio train incident?
It was bad.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard quite enough people talking about how it's seeped into the Mississippi River, which connects to every river in the world, and so now we're all gonna get cancer.
Oh, let's go!
Yeah,
no way, let's go.
It's just awful, which could lead into my Armageddon talk. But I'm gonna keep this podcast a little bit lighter. I'm not gonna submit my doomsday prophecy just yet.
What you really need to talk about is not that specific incident, but the fact that since proven by the fact that nobody really cared about it that much. I mean, honestly, that incident was an anomaly in terms of how much people actually did care about it. It kind of blew up.
I mean, it all happened because of a government complacency with big train.
Yeah,
big train, but going skimpy on the safety details. And the workers were actually going on strike against it, but they just didn't care. And then the train derailed, and now we're breathing in toxins.
What I'm saying is, what you should talk about is just the fact that this stuff happens all the time. Maybe not quite to the scale of that incident, but it happens all the time, and nobody cares at all.
But it happened in Ohio, so everyone's oh, Ohio!
We're dumping stuff into oceans and rivers constantly, but it's just we've just accepted that that's just how we do things.
I know. There has to be some splendor. There's got to be an explosion. There's got to be death and despair. There's got to be chemical names we haven't even heard of before.
It's a perpetual issue where we always think that we pretend like we don't know what's going to happen now, so we'll have to wait till the future to figure out what's going to happen, even though we could probably make a very good guess as to what's going to happen, but it's just an easier way to write it off and make it the problem of the next generation and not your own. Yeah. It's the same thing with the bird eggs and DDT back in the day. What's that book called? Silent Spring by Rachel something.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
Something.
So I don't know.
But it was about the birds dying because of the some kind of pesticide.
You almost said chemtrails.
The chemical pesticide, DDT. But like,
I know about that. I didn't read the book.
At the time, there was people suspicious of it, but they were like, we don't know. And I just feel like
I know.
It's like a perpetual cycle of that, where we're always going to be like, yeah, maybe dumping stuff into our waterways is going to be bad in the future, but we don't have enough evidence yet.
Yeah, and this is what happened when the big businesses play it, because they're like, well, yeah, a train's probably going to derail at some point, but, I mean, imagine how much money we can make before then.
Right, it hasn't happened yet.
I mean, think about the moolah.
Guys, 90% of gamblers stop gambling right before they win big. Keep gambling. Get it twisted.
But yeah, 'cause we have this... I'm glad we fixed it into a more relevant topic, that being the air quality in New York right now, because that's the problem we have. I in my notes, I compared it to the 100-tab problem. You know, when you have a window up and it's got just like so many tabs on it that you have to get to, and then you get to it and it's like, why was I even looking into this? And this is like, this is just a song I had up that I was listening to. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, you probably keep your web pages more organized.
I like to live life normal and happy, so I don't do things like that to myself.
But yeah, if we want to talk about some of these past topics, which I've now just sort of allocated to the backlogs.
Well, that's great, because
we'd have to find an interesting way to bring them up.
I have a topic from a long time ago that I was going to talk about that is even more relevant now.
Oh man, the universe favors you. My topics get buried.
Dude, well, I just saw it and I was like, wait, this is even more relevant.
Bring it up. Let's go.
So a long time ago, like pre-hiatus, I think the first episode...
Wait, the initial hiatus or this most recent shorter hiatus?
The first episode...
Oh, yeah, by the way, we're back. I was going to start this by saying, hey, I told you we'd be back. You saw that community post. You probably didn't actually see that community post. I didn't check if there were any comments on that
I didn't see the community post. It didn't get pushed out to subscribers, unfortunately.
Is there like a setting you can do for that?
No. I mean, you just have to get lucky if the algorithm is like, I'm going to actually show your subscribers this thing that you posted.
I'm tired of this game of life. We can get on a YouTube rant later. That's another podcast staple. Anyways,
this was the first episode back after like the 2-year hiatus.
The big one. Okay.
I was going to talk about how, there's been this ongoing thing of YouTube versus Twitch streaming. YouTube coming up as a competitor to Twitch.
Yeah. I know what you're about to talk about.
And YouTube signing people as if it's like an esports org or like just a sports, like actual sports organization. Like one of the most notable being Ludwig, with YouTube's basically contracting Ludwig to stream on YouTube rather than Twitch, even though he always streamed on Twitch. And then, they kept doing that more and more with like, I forget who, plenty of other people, but so a lot of people moving over to YouTube from Twitch because of the bag. They're chasing the bag.
And
I was going to talk about that because I was like, it's kind of weird how, like, I mean, I guess actually it really started with Ninja and the whole Mixer thing.
Yeah.
That's where it all started. But
that kind of like came and went in the moment, but it was really the start of it.
But that's speaking of Mixer, that's the thing with Mixer. It like. There was like this early wave of Twitch competitors where it was Mixer, and do you remember Facebook Live?
Yeah,
Facebook gaming.
It's always been one of those cases where people knew Twitch was really terrible, but they like didn't have an alternative. So it was like, somebody please just give us an alternative.
So there was Mixer and Facebook Live, and both of them crashed and burned so quickly and so terribly.
I completely forgot about Facebook Live, dude. You brought it up, and I was like, whoa.
You want to know? Maybe this is why Facebook Live failed. You want to know who actually got signed to Facebook Live?
Who?
Zero.
Oh, no.
The Smash Player Zero.
I don't remember that at all, actually.
I don't know how I remember that, but I remember he streamed on Facebook Live. He had some kind of contract. Anyways. Crazy, though. But, like, yeah, there was just Mixer and Facebook Live were, like, not good alternatives to Twitch. But there was actually, like, this first wave of actual effort to make alternatives to Twitch. But now, this is relevant again because we're living in a new world where there's now Kick, which my first thought was this is going to be exactly like Mixer and it's going to be a horrible failure.
Yeah, that was mine too.
But thanks to the fact that Adin Ross is such a terrible person,
yeah.
Kick is succeeding beyond all belief. And now it's like an actual legitimate competitor to Twitch as well as YouTube, which is a good thing in my opinion.
I haven't heard much about it aside from the fact that it's actually been doing decent.
It's been doing really good, and it's been stirring up a lot of what's the word?
Discussion.
Publicity.
Good
and bad. A lot of it started with Adin Ross. Like, I actually think Adin Ross is single-handedly... If you don't know, Adin Ross is like...
Is he the guy who sniffed
insane.
Andrew Tate's chair?
Yeah. He's like... He basically got his fame as an Andrew Tate fanboy, and now he just says, like, crazy racist stuff and just really offensive, problematic stuff, like on purpose.
He's just a clown. He's just a public clown.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is gonna be a new thing. People are literally just gonna be like, man, there was a time like way back when I had like a good example of this. But there are people, because people are willing to like sacrifice their public image for fame, and some people almost have to in order to get popular and then make money and survive off it, and they don't have like other better like survival options, financially speaking. There are going to be people who go out there and just make themselves look like idiots so people can be like, laughing at them. Oh yeah, who's that guy? That's a good example. Who's that guy who he's just like so bombastic and he just screams speed or whatever.
Oh yeah, iShowSpeed. Yeah.
Yes. I knew it was something. I forgot the verb. It's like him. They're just going to be public clowns, just like look at him acting like an idiot.
Yeah, that is basically his brand as well.
That's what the future is going to be. And I don't want it. I don't find that funny. I'm going to be honest.
The future has been here. Nikocado Avocado is the same thing.
Well, yeah, he had like an arc.
He's on an arc. You saw he lost weight?
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about that.
I told you. He had like this villain monologue where he's like, I did this all on purpose. I manipulated you. And then sometime after that, he was like done with it, and now he's actually like turning his life around.
Yeah.
He's the main character. We didn't realize this whole time. We thought he was a joke background
character. He's the anime
protag. He's the main. He might be like an anti-hero, but he's the main character regardless. I don't know what kind of story.
But anyways, getting back to what we were talking about. So I think it's a good thing. I have my questions about Kick as a streaming platform, but I do think it's a good thing. Just the fact that there exist more different platforms for people. Like, I've never thought that it was a good thing that YouTube is like such a monolith. Like, if you want to create videos, long form content style videos, and by long form I mean
YouTube is like, you do something slightly different from us, let's do exactly that on top of what we already do. Hence the shorts and all that stuff. But it's like, we're TikTok as well. We're also TikTok, in case you didn't know. We're Twitch and we're TikTok and we're YouTube. And we're all this stuff.
Let me finish the sentence,
and we're
please.
Twitter. We got community posts. Sorry about my chair.
None of that is bad on its own. But what I'm saying is, and YouTube creators have tried to find a solution to this for years. I mean, people have pushed for like alternatives to YouTube for a long time. But it's just like never a good thing in my opinion that if you want to be a creator of videos, like YouTube is just like there is no choice. YouTube is what you're gonna do. Like, there is no other platform. Vimeo is not a real thing. Dailymotion is not a real thing. You know, like, those are not.
People used to like talk about Vimeo as if it was like an alternate YouTube. It's like, it almost just feels like a video archive thing.
Right.
I don't know what it calls itself.
People illegally upload like or like copyrighted clips and stuff.
That's where Kristen told me to watch Steven Universe back in the day.
So basically nothing as sophisticated as YouTube. So I'm glad that there's something, which I haven't investigated that much about Kick, but it seems as sophisticated as Twitch. It seems like it's a real competitor to Twitch, and that kind of stuff I think is good. Now there's also Rumble, and Rumble is supposed to be a competitor to YouTube. It's like an alternative to YouTube.
Oh yeah, I have heard of that. Not much though.
Again, I like the idea. The only problem with Rumble and with Kick is that it seems like rather than just wanting to diversify the number of platforms there are out there, it's just like edge type people, like edge streamers, like people who are controversial and
the outcast. You have been forsaken by the two.
It's not like
come to Rumble to seek sanctuary.
The kind of people that are like wrongfully getting hurt on YouTube are not the kind of people moving to other platforms. It's the kind of people who are like rightfully getting
exactly,
like, who are just like actually being terrible people, and they're like, okay,
and they probably go there with a victim complex, like they're out to get me.
Exactly.
But here I can be who I want to be.
Because there's
nothing wrong with this.
Actually, how I discovered Rumble is because Steven Crowder,
oh man,
Louder with Crowder, he started promoting in all of his YouTube episodes that he's gonna upload all of his episodes to Rumble, because certain stuff he would talk about on YouTube would be like demonetized or whatever. So that's how I actually first learned about it. So I can kind of get an idea of the kind of people who are probably going to be on Rumble. And it's not that I'm...
part of the problem, though. You can't, like, create an alternative now where people won't take advantage of what slight differences you have to, like, abuse some system.
Right.
Because you don't have the power advantage that the original people do to, like, sort of like a... What's the word? Control yourself and your community in the same way.
It's not that I'm like against free speech, and in all cases glad that YouTube is like demonetizing these people or striking these people for certain behaviors. That's fine if you want to create, and especially if you're creating the platform.
But then if enough people do that, it becomes like the face of your platform.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If your entire identity,
I got a mucus thing. I hope
you are interrupting me as much as possible.
I'm
right now.
Sorry.
You remind me of Link on Ear Biscuits, dude. He is.
You're interrupting yourself.
I've been listening to Ear Biscuits, and Link interrupts Rhett so much, and he just like
it's a podcast staple. Podcasters have to do this.
He either
hold on, let me get it on my system.
He's either completely unaware or he does it on purpose, because Rhett will have started talking for like 5 seconds, and Link will just be like, Link will have started a joke. And then there's like a 10-second pause, and he thinks of another part to the joke, like another segment to the joke.
Yeah.
But in that 10 seconds pause that he was thinking, Rhett already started talking for like 5 whole seconds.
Funny,
and then
man.
He's just like, and like just cuts it, and he like has to add the little bit to his joke, even though it's completely irrelevant at that point. It reminds me of you.
Oh, man.
And Rhett makes jokes about it, but I think he's just gotten unbelievably patient with Link. So
when are you gonna get unbelievably patient with me?
I am, but I have to remind. At some point, I have to be like, just stop, so I can actually.
You have to channel your inner Rhett.
Like, I'm not mad, but you just have to let me talk at some point. Anyways,
okay. Yeah, you interrupted yourself this time.
Well, I just thought that was a funny side story.
I'll add this as a side bullet point, sub bullet.
But yeah, at some point, like you said, then your whole identity just becomes the fact that you're like edgy, basically. Like we don't play by the rules. Like, I wish that a platform like Rumble or Kick could just which Kick is, I'll admit, Kick is doing a much better job at this. It's just unfortunate that basically their biggest creator is Adin Ross, who is the worst face of any brand you could ever have. But with Rumble, it's like, it's too much like they're just playing into the fact that, like, yeah, this is where like edgy content creators are going to go because they can avoid any kind of moderation on other platforms. I wish that we could have a real competitor, a real alternative platform to YouTube that's just as sophisticated, and you can change your community guidelines, adjust them, be more lax than YouTube if that's what you want to do. But like, don't make that your whole thing. Like, just make yourself a competitor to YouTube. That's what you should be.
I feel like they could play the long game here and just ride off of their success, as unfortunate as it may be in some people's perspectives, and eventually develop the level of expertise where they can like have a better grip on their community and have it more organized so that doesn't have that kind of a image to it. And then from there, then they will have worked themselves up just through their notoriety over the years to be a valid competitor to YouTube and not have all the negative stuff. But that's a very long game type thing.
Yeah, and I think it's very long because it's going to be hard to get people to join your community. I mean, you're going to have to
as long as you have that public perception, the people joining are just going to be
those same people.
Further forward that perception.
Exactly. And then at a certain point, it's like, once you get to the point where you're as sophisticated as YouTube, you're probably going to realize as a platform that a lot of the stuff YouTube does, even as sometimes stupid as it is, you're going to have to do the same thing, and you're going to run into the same pitfalls.
Yes.
Like, as admittedly stupid as YouTube is, when you have a platform that massive and with that many videos being uploaded like literally per second, I mean, you're gonna have to make mistakes in moderation. But at some
Sometimes
point,
I wish YouTube was just a bit
like
more honest about that. They almost give this air like, oh yeah, we can handle it, and we're doing our best with our people. It's like, no, just say you're using machines, and this is all we're capable of. There's just too many.
I mean,
they don't have to be that blunt, but if they would just come out and say it at one point, I'd be like, yes, I understand
that. They should just have the transparency to say, listen, this is how many videos are uploaded per second. We have to moderate them all, and so there's no way, like, there's going to be mistakes that happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of that also, though, I don't know. I feel like we might see a little bit of a revolution of social medias. A lot of social media major social media platforms have been changing hands because YouTube got a new CEO. Susan Wojcicki stepped down. Twitch got a new CEO. The other guy that nobody knows who he was because he never did anything stepped down. And what's the last one? What was the last one I was gonna say? Oh no. Oh, Twitter, obviously.
Yeah, I was about to say...
Twitter got a new CEO. Elon Musk stepped down. So that's double changing hands for Twitter.
I'm going to be honest. I was going to say Twitter, but I tuned out, and I actually... Was the second one you said TikTok? Did TikTok change CEO?
Twitch.
Okay, it was a T something. Dude, my brain turned off after you said Susan Wojcicki. I don't know why.
But yeah, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter all have had recent CEO changes.
I didn't hear about the Twitch one, actually. I heard about Twitter from you a while ago.
That's probably because, like I said, the previous Twitch CEO literally never once talked about Twitch. Never ever participated in Twitch.
Even know anything.
Like, it was actually a ongoing joke that in his Twitter bio, the very last thing in his Twitter bio, he had like all this other stuff that he's a part of, and then the very last thing in his Twitter bio was working on Twitch.
That's probably...
Working, not even CEO of Twitch, just working on Twitch.
It's like, it reminds me of how, like, I didn't even know that Twitch was owned by Amazon and then by extent Jeff Bezos. And then and that was after I made my account. I was like, no, I've given my name to the Bays.
Oh, well, you've never heard of a Twitch Prime sub?
Yeah, well, I put two and two together pretty shortly after that. I mean, I don't think Prime as a word is copyrighted by...
No. I mean, I guess if you don't know how it works, but it's just you get a free subscription with your Amazon Prime.
I didn't know that much at the time.
But, yeah, actually, I think Twitch's downfall started when Amazon bought them, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know when that was, but...
This is a long time ago at this point, but I feel like it's been a steady decline. But,
from that perspective, you could almost say they've just been on a steady decline, and that was part of it.
I'm kind of excited for a possible social media shakeup with a lot. I mean,
bro, it's happening.
There's been a lot of things happening all over the place, but I would love to see these competitors actually succeed and create a more like competitive, diverse ecosystem. I would love to see maybe these CEOs change things, maybe for the better, if not for the entertainment of us. Like, if they do really stupid things, like let's be honest, Elon Musk was a pretty entertaining CEO. He had some funny moments.
In the same way Donald Trump was a pretty entertaining president.
But then he also thought of, or maybe he didn't, but under his leadership, they thought of, what's the word? Community Notes, which is the greatest thing any social media platform has ever implemented. So,
yeah, honestly.
You never know. But, and Facebook is dying, so that's a thing as well.
Yes. Dude, everything they try to do with Meta is so dumb. They like put like I've been seeing like advertisements.
This is a perfect thing to talk about. Did you see the fashion show thing that they advertised with the Metaverse?
Yes, it's so dumb.
I don't know who recorded their screen for that demonstration they did of the fashion show runway. You may have seen this clip. If not, look it up. Look up the I forget what it's called, but it's some fashion show done in the Metaverse. The clips that they used for it were recorded in literally 10 frames per second. It's like, there is not a worse way that you could be demonstrating your product at this point. There is not a worse way. Like, you are doing
it's like,
everything
literally,
wrong.
The thing people keep saying is it's like VR chat, but bad. And that is the best thing you can say about it. Anything else about it is just that it's pointless.
It's literally
stupid.
It feels like a passion project.
Yeah, I know.
Like they're trying to build something.
A passion project to die on.
Yeah, like they're building something from scratch, and they're taking their time with it.
I mean,
and yet they're marketing it like it's something revolutionary when it's literally antiquated technology.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these social media starters, like Mark Zuckerberg, they were early adopters, and now, like with the advent of like AI and VR and the metaverse, before that was like a copyrighted term, I feel like the Zuck is just convinced, I'm an early adopter. This is going to go big. Everyone on the internet is saying it's going to go big. They're saying NFTs are the future. I'm hopping on that. I'm ready to ride this to the top, but it's not. Everyone hates it. It's like only the losers who are in on it. They're a vocal minority. That's what it is.
Yeah, that reminds me of when...
And he's fallen for it. And he's gone all in on being an early adopter of something that's never going to take off.
It reminds me of when Discord was going to implement, for some reason... I don't know how this even makes sense. As Discord, a messaging platform. But Discord was going to implement some where you could connect your crypto wallet to the app.
That's so
and
pointless.
They didn't end up implementing because the internet bullied them out of it.
Dude, that is a thing. People, this is like shown something. That like we finally hit the wall. Because usually, even if something is stupid, it does eventually like have its 15 minutes of fame. But no, we like immediately were like, no, NFTs are stupid. No, this new like AI art is stupid. All this new stuff is stupid. We finally reached the point where we're all conservatives in some degree. Like, we're actually like, no, too far, don't do this anymore.
I think
this is stupid.
But
all these like celebrities and stuff are so used to things like at least taking off to some extent that they're like, oh, this is new and people are talking about it. It's popular. I'm getting in on this.
Yeah.
Like NFTs, like a lot of celebrities. Apparently, like Snoop Dogg made an NFT at some point. Jimmy Fallon was talking about them.
Yeah.
Everyone was like convinced, oh yeah, this is just new. It's popular. It's like, no, everyone hates this.
Yeah. I think that's where people who are actually know technology, know the internet, like know the social climate and the environment of it all.
They can't read the social climate because they haven't had to before. They just see numbers going up.
At this point, though, the people with the actual acuity to understand it, we can tell the difference between what's actually some sort of evolution of technology versus what I would consider basically like a red herring of evolution of technology. Like NFTs and the AI art, it's like literally like a fake, like it's pretending to be some kind of evolution of technology when it's really not. It's literally just, it's like a misappropriation of existing technology, basically.
But there are still people like trying to force it in because what some of them who have stuck with it to an extent have found is that it can be profitable. Like you can leech off of the people who are into this.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And
with
so
all this
they found a niche for which the idea that this is going to take off is technically true.
I mean, we're seeing that with AI on an even larger scale.
Yeah, that's what I was
which is
about
actually
to say.
One of my topics.
Because I was going to say DeviantArt, retrospective shout out to DeviantArt for being where I saw all like my fan art of like stuff back in the day.
You can't leave it that open.
Is now
I
like
saw my fan art.
not my fan art that I made. I just found cool artists on there back in the day.
I'm just saying.
Back when I was young enough that I shouldn't have been on the internet, but I was.
Especially not on DeviantArt.
Yeah. But there were some cool artists on there. But now
I'm sure.
The whole site is falling apart because it like got sold over to Wix. Who just wants to make it like into an art portfolio website practically at this point.
Gross.
And it's sort of lost all of its charm. But worst of all, they've made an opt-out AI like submission system where like all of your art is automatically put into a system for like stable diffusion and stuff. No. And you can opt out of it, which is like, okay, that's not as good as opt-in, but okay, you have to pay to opt out. You have to like have a paid account.
No, they were joking.
I mean, it's not that straightforward. It's
real.
like they almost set it up like you should be able to opt out, but it's like tied to all these systems where you basically have to have this like plus account or whatever. Dude, Snapchat Plus. We've locked backgrounds for your Bitmoji behind Snapchat Plus. Who cares?
That's another thing. The subscription service panic. Every company has to offer some kind of subscription service now.
All the artists that I knew on Twitter used to talk so highly of Clip Studio until they went to a subscription service. Dude, I'm dead to any company that uses a subscription service. Microsoft kicked me out. I have to use LibreOffice Writer now, which huge shout-outs to LibreOffice Writer for being there for me, but they got a lot of glitches in their software. I'm just being real with you. But for the time, I am done with DocX. I am now .odt master race.
Are they open source?
I think I'm not sure. I'm not going to say confidently one way
I don't
or
think
the
they're
other.
open source.
Yeah, I don't think
They're just
so.
free, but not open source.
But it's pretty nice to have a competitor, even if they have their flaws.
If they were open source, their software would be better because people would work on it.
Yeah. That's why I almost want to believe they are, but I don't think they are.
I don't think they were. I think I saw that they weren't.
But the worst one I've seen is, have you seen, I just recently saw this on YouTube as an ad, like really recently, so you might not have seen it. Have you seen Grammarly's new ads?
No.
Oh my goodness, dude. You want to talk about dystopia.
With AI?
They're advertising a system that will have AI write your email responses for you.
Oh, yeah. And there's plenty of AI.
And you can just put in like a few things. Like, I want it to sound sincere. Be polite. Please sound optimistic. And it's like we're entering an age where it's literally like we're in the Jetsons, like, have my robot butler write me an email, and I'll give it my stamp of approval. But we won't know. That's like the worst thing about AI is people don't know. It's like people are passing off reality as fiction. It'd be one thing if we knew, but we don't.
Have you seen all of the things where people filter through...
I'm sweating because of this hat. Let me turn it backwards.
They filter through reviews for products on Amazon and stuff, and there's like hundreds of reviews.
Yeah, because there was already a problem with like bots, like falsifying information.
No.
That's going to go crazy now because they can sound realistic.
Yo.
And I still know your words?
It's dumber than what you think. Because people have been using bots for this kind of stuff the whole time. That's why I'm saying it's like a red herring technology. Like, this isn't really that new.
Yeah.
But people have just gotten stupider. They found reviews left like all over the place, not just Amazon, like Google or like, Yelp kind of reviews on like restaurants, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where the reviews will start with, as an AI chatbot, I cannot blah, 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 blah.
That is stupider, dude. I thought people were going to make them smarter.
They're not even trimming the responses.
Like,
they're not even pruning the responses.
That reminds me when you were on Twitch and you said, oh, AI Jesus is streaming. And he was like, as AI Jesus, I believe in
Dude, that was so bad. Oh, I don't even want to...
You don't need AI Jesus.
Go to Twitch and look up AI Jesus.
Don't look up AI Jesus. Just take our word for it.
It's a deep fake. Somebody recorded themselves for like 30 seconds, like waving their hands and talking.
Dude, no, honestly, it looks like it was made by one of those AI video makers. Like, it doesn't look like real footage.
I'm not even sure. I thought it was a deep fake. Like, somebody just recorded themselves and then deep faked Jesus onto it. Or like they deep faked a picture of Jesus with their pose of them just like moving their arms like angelically.
Yeah.
Like speaking like they're like a professor of philosophy.
Yeah.
And they just deep fake down a picture of Jesus, and then it's that same clip repeated over and over. Like, literally, there's like it doesn't even loop perfectly. And then there's like
lips do like a deep fake move with what the AI is saying, and it's just like this AI, voice, like a ChatGPT, like trying to respond, trying to play the role of Jesus.
And they add a lot of echo and reverb to make it sound all like heavenly.
Yes, and he's got like the cloud background and everything, and there's like a light shining.
And somebody asked something ridiculous, and he was like, as AI Jesus,
I like to focus more on like forgiveness. Yeah. And it's so dumb. They just like threw the Bible in there and thought he could like GPT his way out.
Wait, no. Didn't he one time say as Jesus?
One time he left out the AI. I mean, you look at the channel name and it's obvious, but like it's so, dude, I can't even. This age we're living in. I made the joke. You were watching that and I said, I'm pretty sure Revelation says something about this.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Well, we kind of passed it now, but I just really quickly wanted to say...
I had more to say about that, too, if we're going back to the chain of CEOs.
Before we go so far... Oh, about the CEOs?
Well, I was going to say, the new YouTube CEO, critical pointed this out, I didn't know this, but he said... how, statistically speaking, given where he is on like the board of directors before this and what changes were made recently, he probably had a big hand in like removing dislikes. That was something I didn't know.
Yes,
something I did know even before that video was that he was like the head of the NFT program in like integration at YouTube. He's not going to be better. We're going downhill on YouTube.
Yeah, I did see those things.
It only gets worse.
The Twitch CEO, on the other hand, I think is going to be a positive change because he actually streams on Twitch now as a CEO. And dude, he's so adorable. You should watch him.
He's adorable.
He sings and plays the guitar, and he just takes requests from people for songs, and then he just sings them and plays his acoustic guitar. And it's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. He's like really old. Not like really old, but I don't know how old actually, but he has like white hair, and he looks like a sweet old man. So I feel like he is probably a better CEO than the previous. But I don't know if he's the one. I don't know how related he or involved he is in this kind of stuff, but I don't know if you heard about the stuff about the Twitch ad guidelines that they put out.
Yeah.
Where you could only, like, any kind of sponsored content could only take up, like, 3% of the screen, all that ridiculous stuff.
It's like, what do they gain from implementing
that's actually what I was wondering.
Like, what is their ultimatum?
I don't know if it's something with, like, the advertisers, where advertisers on Twitch, like the people paying for the actual, like, pre-roll or mid-roll ads in the middle of streams.
Yeah.
If they were having some kind of issues with streamers having sponsored content, because they don't want to, like, advertise on sponsored content, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the kind of thing it is, but, I mean, it does, like, that's never been a problem before, so I'm kind of confused why now, but... So basically, Twitch seems to still be going downhill, but I do like the CEO. He seems like a really nice guy. I haven't heard anything about the Twitter CEO.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I haven't either. I made a joke saying it was going to be Tucker Carlson.
Oh, speaking of which, dude, you know he moved to Twitter. I don't think we.
Yeah,
talked about
that's why I made that joke.
Yeah, I was just saying because we didn't talk about it. Because, yeah, we've been on hiatus since that happened.
Back in the day when people who were problematic got moved off of Twitter, now they move to Twitter willingly.
That's what it's like Rumble, except there's no alternative. It just became that. But yeah, Tucker Carlson, you were so right when we were talking about this, and you said he was gonna leave Fox News and get a bigger platform. Like Fox News was actually holding him down.
Yeah,
because you're so right. Because his first episode on Twitter got like 30-some million views. I heard. Or maybe more than that.
That's why I have a problem with how people seem to oversimplify the idea of deplatforming. They're like, yes, we got him off of where he was normally. We won. It's like, no. Often it gets worse from there.
Bro left his day job to get a better day job.
Exactly. That's my real problem with people. I've found that the problem with talking about like cancel culture is that everyone defines it differently. And for good reason, because there's so many different aspects to it. Deplatforming, like... sometimes it's just like harassing someone that you don't like, debatably for good reason if they've done something particularly terrible. But I still say that I have a problem with cancel culture, just in general, because there's so many things that just fly over people's head about the complexity of it. People are just like, person did bad thing, I react bombastically.
Yeah. And
it's not that simple.
Cancel culture is... misused and misunderstood by people on both extremes of it. It's
because I've heard some people talk in defense of cancel culture, like it's just holding the powerful to accountability, and it's like, no, I mean that's just called being like a normal person and upholding the good values. Like cancel culture is its own thing that is sort of developed, and yes, there's an overlap with that, but people have like made a sport out of it. And then,
I think the biggest pitfall of cancel culture is
because, like,
at
obviously,
some point
I'm not saying
nice,
people.
Nice.
I wanted to clarify something. I'm not saying like, oh, don't cancel poor Tucker Carlson. I'm saying, go ahead, cancel him. It's not going to do anything.
Well, I was going to say, at some point, cancel culture is just the Streisand effect.
Yeah, exactly.
You're drawing way more attention.
I'm glad you
to
know
somebody
about that
than they ever had before. So,
dude, I'm sweating so much.
It's
this hat. I gotta take it off.
I
don't think it is the hat, but it's something.
In general, cancel culture, as we describe it, is usually something done wrong. But I think the idea of it, is not even like it's less of an active. That's the problem. Cancel culture is like an active thing. If you really want to deplatform somebody, it's a passive thing.
Yeah.
Unfollow them. Stop consuming their content. Don't give them ad money or however they make their money.
Yeah, it's like when people say the real way.
Make a big deal about it, that's the Streisand effect, and now you're just driving more attention to them, when really what you want to do is take attention away from them.
It's like, back in my day, pardon the phrasing, but literally back in my day, we were told, you know how you beat a bully? You ignore them. And that isn't always true. I'm not going to be that unnuanced. But nowadays, people say, if somebody punches you, you punch him back. It's like, we have this whole... I remember when, like, punching Nazis became, like, a phraseology. It's like, no, that's not going to accomplish anything except for making you look like the bad guy and giving them more attention. More often than not, ignoring is the way to go.
Dude, the year before I joined Ethics Bowl at my high school, one of their, I forget what they call them, scenarios or something.
Yeah.
One of the ones the year before was actually, the title was should you punch a Nazi, or can you punch a Nazi?
Like, what is that going to accomplish? Is it going to is the impact of his face going to send ripples throughout the Nazi community? People are going to suddenly wake up and be like, I shouldn't be a Nazi anymore. It's like, no, that's just going to make the Nazis say, like, look at these brutes. Look at them acting so rashly. And then they're going to get put on TV and they're going to be like, and then Nazi wannabes are going to be like, I haven't heard of this Nazi guy. I should look into him.
I think you have to concede at some point that if you're for that you just think it's some kind of reparations, but...
Yeah. Like, reparations does nothing. Vengeance does nothing. You can't make someone hurt enough to repair things that they've done.
It's not a repair. It's not truly
reparations. I shouldn't have said reparations. Vengeance does nothing.
I said reparations.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what you like call. It's like you thinking it's like a reparations, but in reality, it's more just like getting your anger out, which there's better ways to do. Like, get your anger out, but there's better ways to do that. I think you have to you have to admit at that point if you're acting like retaliating that manner, you're accepting the fact that you don't want to try to make things better. You just want to get your anger out.
That's my problem with the United States judicial and penal system. Because
are we gonna get, dude? I'm so rehabilitation pilled. I'm so.
Dude, you are?
Yeah.
Dude, we're finally getting controversial.
That was one of our...
We're based in rehabilitation pills.
That was one of the ethics bowl scenarios or cases that I did when I did it.
Because, like, I think...
We were talking about restorative justice is what they called it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, literally, the countries that implement it have lower crime rates and everything. It's way better.
It's because people see... And I know this is an extreme...
But they think it's immoral because they're not getting what they deserve.
People see...
What good does that do for you?
People just see... somebody killed somebody...
we are getting heated.
Somebody killed somebody, we have to kill them.
Exactly! An eye for an eye. Like, I thought back in the day we talked bad about that. Now we follow it, like, dogmatically.
Well,
not in all situations.
You're getting very loud, just so
sorry. You know. Yes. I'm having like my Elon Musk rant voice.
In middle school, actually, we learned about King Hammurabi, whatever, I think that's his name, the guy who made the eye for an eye. And they just posed it as questions like, do you guys think this is right? The eye for an eye thing? And I remember a lot of like, I feel like there was a lot of division because some people were like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
Duh, if they took your eye, you take their eye. But a
little bit too literal there.
My entire life, I've never thought that.
Dude, you just like boosted my opinion of you by like 25 points, and you're already so up there.
I mean, I feel like you could have assumed that from me, but I'm extremely against the death penalty.
Well, you seem like a very level-headed person. I assume you're like neutral on most things, so I can see you like floating either way for a lot of stuff.
That's an interesting analysis. I think I'm neutral on the things that deserve to be neutral on.
25 more points to Gryffindor.
But no, I'm very against the death penalty.
Yeah.
And I think the death penalty is just the grossest and most obvious example of how our criminal justice system is terrible. That's exactly leading to
what I was going to say. I think the only time you should kill someone should not be when you have them already in a position where you can just put them in custody and keep them separated from the people they could cause harm to.
Right.
The only time is like in like a war scenario, like where you, or like a terrorist scenario where you need to kill someone to prevent other people from dying. You know?
Yeah.
Like a trolley car problem.
I mean, that's a whole nother discussion because war is...
Yeah. But like, I think too many people these days see prisons as like a system to like send people to like hell on earth to repay for what they've done, when it should just be a matter of keeping them away from people they can do harm to. And they see like financial repercussions as a way to like get revenge on people, as opposed to just like recovering from what they've rightfully or wrongfully taken away from those people. Where it's too revenge driven. It's like, they did someone bad, they did something bad, we should do something bad back to them. But what good does that do? That doesn't fix anything. That just makes you feel better. It's literally feeding wrath. Like, wrath is a short-term response that you have to make sure that you recognize right from wrong. Like, when someone does something bad, you get angry so that it's like a call to action. But then you're like, okay, let me be logical here. And you do what actually has benefits. I mean, just getting mad at people and punishing them with no gain to anyone else in the world is just like, it's just feeding wrath.
What if somebody like steals something from a store, and instead of fining them or jailing them for like a day for like petty theft, what if instead you have them work at that store for a day?
Yeah. They wouldn't. They'd not be the most trustworthy.
Like obviously, this has practical issues, but just purely on a conceptual level. Think about this. Have them
do the obligatory like equivalent of that maybe. Like some of these places where they're reformation based, they have like these places where have them do some sort of community service. You're saying?
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, that's the more practical application. But I was saying have them work at the store, or even better, let's say they stole like bread. Yeah. Which that's a whole nother can of worms because like
we're getting into Les Miserables.
If they're hungry, maybe they should have stole the bread. But anyways, maybe they should have asked for the bread. That's the real thing before stealing it. But
I have some bread for free? I'm gonna die otherwise.
That's a whole nother moral question. That was also one of our cases actually.
Yes.
But anyways, what was I saying? Or have them work in a farm, have them pick the wheat, or have them, make the bread.
Yeah.
Like, have them actually
We're getting old school here.
Go through the process. That accomplishes two things. A, they can see the work that was put into it and what they took away from somebody else by stealing. And B, there's actually, I can name a lot of things. B, they learned how to do something so that they can provide for themselves instead of stealing.
Because a lot of the times when people do, like you said, have to resort to this stuff is because they don't have other options for how to make it in this world.
And lastly, they replace the thing that they stole.
Yes.
So, but
then people are like, ooh, but they wronged me, and they're getting benefits from this? Grr. And it's like, everyone is getting benefits from this.
I think it comes down to a worldview where, basically a worldview that's against forgiveness, but
yeah,
a worldview where you don't...
Hold on, I gotta do this one more time.
A worldview where you treat...
What is wrong with
where you always want the best for others is, like, as a blanket statement, you always want for the best for others. You would always be for that kind of justice. Because it's like you said, it's benefiting all parties, and it's benefiting the person that wronged you. If you want to see change in the world, you should want the people that wronged you to benefit in the sense that they learn and improve as a person. It doesn't necessarily mean that you lost something and now their consequences, they're gaining more. The consequence is that they're going to wrong less people in the future, and that's something that you should want.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, you jail somebody for petty theft, it's like, okay, I'm going to do it again. That wasn't that bad. Or they're going to be like, okay, people are out to get me. Like people just want to put me in jail. Like, that's not a response where they feel like any impetus to change their behavior. Exactly.
It's like I've heard people say you literally just go to jail and you're given more reasons to hate humanity and the system, and you're being socialized with other people who feel that way and who have experience at criminal activity, and you're just going there and it's like, okay, now here's how to break the law more and why you should. Then you leave and then you do it again.
I think the problem is that there's a lot of examples of people who do go to prison for a long time and come out and they're fine and they're improved. But I don't think that's what happens with everybody, and probably not even the majority of people. I think those are people who just have the miraculous ability to have that growth completely on their own. Like literally just have years in prison and just think and just grow on their own, which is not how most people grow. They grow through experiences and interactions with other people. Yeah. But then people see those kind of people and they're like, look, prison does work. This guy came out and he's like regrets what he did and he has a change.
The only times I hear that is when they a pastor went to like the church and was like, you need to find God, and then he has like a revelation or something. And then that shows that you need an outside force. It wasn't the prison itself.
Right. Exactly. It's when it's
or something remarkable happens to them in prison that like enlightens.
Yes, they have some kind of experience or interaction that
has nothing to do with what's actually implemented in the prison.
Right. But just leaving them, like, what are they gonna? It's like the whole, like, sit in timeout and think. Think about what?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, unless you have some magical insight, but you don't learn that way. There's nothing you learn by just
thinking could get them out of whatever situation they were into, they wouldn't have gotten into it in the first place. They didn't start thinking when you sat them down. They've been thinking. That's what we do as humans. Dude, this is the first controversial thing we've talked about. There are people who are like, you guys are idiots in the comments right now, if we had a big enough audience.
I can see why you say it's controversial, but I'm
really
pretty sure struggle to see this as something that's that controversial.
I feel like it's definitely
I think it's just
the more conservative audience that would be against this. So let me say it this way: you guys are capitalists. This is investment capitalizing. Investment capitalism. We're investing in people as a product of society to do good. And you're wasting it. You're throwing... Well, they love wasting stuff. They don't give donuts to the poor. They're like, you didn't earn this.
But that's what I always think of it. I struggle to see this as a net bad, net deficit. You know,
I know.
Like it's not a net deficit.
Well,
and if you're in the
one of the more problematic conservative ideas that probably justifies their opinion on it is the idea that you have to earn anything to get it, and in their eyes, these people didn't earn their human rights, basically.
Well, that's all.
But it comes back. It loops back around to benefiting. But then the problem is they don't let see it because it doesn't benefit them personally. It benefits everyone equally. It's too thinly spread.
That's another massive can of worms. But I've always thought this: a large number of conservative people are Christians.
Yeah, that's what I don't get it. This is like Christianity 101 is what we're preaching right now. Forgiveness
is that you are given without earning.
Dude, when I found out that...
that is literally the cornerstone of Christianity.
Dude, when I found out that the death penalty, that it's party divide, again, with the mentality that most conservatives are Christian, not all of them, and not all,
but as a
Democratic
whole, we
or liberals
the
aren't.
Conservative ideology is largely, if not entirely, influenced by Christianity.
They've made it in the same way that, the liberal identity has become a lot about, protecting minorities. A large part of the conservative rationale has become indeterminately associated to upholding Christian values,
right? Judeo-Christian.
But then that's why, with that mindset, I when I found out, I didn't know about this for a long enough time because I've never been involved in any sort of debate about this. When I found out that the conservative platform is pro-death penalty and the more liberal platform is not. Yeah. I was like, wait,
it seems kind of backwards, right?
What? It was completely backwards from what I expected.
But then
it's really I think this goes to show people
the traditionalism of conservatism.
Yeah.
And the death penalty is more traditional. It's what we've had in the past. It goes way back to our animalistic roots as humans, I guess.
People will sue anything to justify what they do. They'll take whatever religious teachings they have and make it look like it justifies.
Well, yeah, you can find a justification for just about anything if you try hard enough.
Bro, we are getting so controversial. We started saying conservative and liberal. We're actually dividing people now. This is too far.
Well, look,
and we're past an hour. So we have to end on this.
No. Remember, it's an hour and a half episode.
Oh yeah.
So you just
hour 29.
Me and the viewer.
I'm sorry. I got to remember to quiet that down. Quick, we need a non-controversial topic.
Well, I was gonna ease it down by saying this. Look, in the real world, the divide is not as clear as conservative and liberal. Those are just things that make it easier to talk about abstract concepts.
I hate people who can only speak in buzzwords.
So everything we just said, take it with somewhat of a grain of salt, and any stereotypes we just said are purely for the sake of simplifying a discussion and talking about these subjects in a way that's easier to break down. But there's way more nuance in the real world than could ever be discussed or fully mentioned by any conversation that we have.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it sound like I was anti-conservative or pro-liberal always, especially
or
considering how many ways you can define those.
Anti-Christian, any of that. There's not a statement on any of that. It's just a statement on our observations and our opinions, but you're free to have your own.
People just need to think about the reality of the situation and detach it from their obligations to their party or whatever.
I really would, though. I would really like to see a Christian conservative person give me some kind of justification for the death penalty.
I know.
I'm really
so
curious
obvious.
about that. I'm really, because I've seen people try to, but I've never seen somebody actually.
Because that is the tenet of Christianity is forgiveness. It will give it one word. Literally.
Forgiveness
died for our sins.
Which also ties back to receiving without necessarily earning.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is receiving.
You know how much
without
charity
earning.
Jesus did.
But
anyways, it wasn't conventional charity. He wasn't rich. He wasn't going to
before this episode ends, we have to talk about Happy Lynx Day.
Happy Lynx Day?
Remember yesterday?
Oh, no. Yeah, dude, we should have brought this up with the AI. Because this is where I was talking about people are profiting off of normalizing AI.
We got way far away from it, but I'm sorry, we're talking about AI again. It's the only thing we do.
Yes.
But look, I'm gonna keep it brief, really brief. I'm gonna try to.
Bro, honestly, AI is just a genre of topic now. We're just gonna give you. We're gonna give you regular updates. It's gonna be like back in the day when we always talked about Fortnite.
Yeah.
Bro, what's your opinion on them removing building from Fortnite?
Well, they just added a mode without it.
Oh, they did?
It's not completely removed.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
They have just different modes you can play now.
Now, there's parkour mode and there's building mode.
Fortnite's actually pretty cool.
Bro, did I actually successfully derail this into a Fortnite discussion?
No. You can finish your
why
here's the
cool,
first thing I'm going to say. I think they've just improved the game a lot, and they've made more ways to play, like you said. They've statistically proven, like through surveys and player data and stuff, that adding the no building mode gained them or sustained them player base. Whereas also having the building mode is what some people like Fortnite for.
Yeah, sometimes some things they've done in the past make them seem kind of tone deaf, but it seems like they are actually trying to like get reception from the audience.
But happy Lynx Day. So if you use Microsoft Windows as your operating system, you know that down by the search bar, they have like little graphics now that they have for like when it was International Donut Day, they had a little donut graphic down by the search bar, the Windows search bar on your taskbar. Yesterday, I saw it was a Lynx. It was a little cat-looking thing. I pulled it up, and it said it was like National Lynx Day or Celebrate Lynx Day. I don't know.
They're a wild feline. For you who don't know, they're a wild feline. There's a Pokemon based.
But I want you to guess what it said. This is always like it has some link where it pulls up Bing and it has some search query so that you can learn about donuts or whatever. Yes. I want you to guess what give them a second to guess. I want you to guess what the search query was for the Lynx Day.
Go.
Celebrate Lynx Day with AI-generated images of lynxes.
Even Jason got mad at that.
You have to be joking. That has to be a joke.
You know it's crazy if Jason peeked the microphone. But seriously, and they were just like, it's just like your own AI-generated lynx. And they would just make a picture for you.
Why is
that the most interesting thing you can think of?
What if we celebrate it with pictures that photographers took of actual animals?
Yeah. You could get some videos of lynxes up in there.
It's crazy.
Lynxes aren't real. They're already dead. They're already extinct. Now you know. And the government is covering up with AI. If you see a video of it, unless you touch the lynx with your bare hand,
by the way,
you don't know they're real. This is the society we live in.
The moon is a projection by NASA into the sky.
Oh, man.
But no, they're just shilling so hard for the Bing AI stuff that they're implementing, which this goes into my other thing that I was just going to talk about. This goes without saying, but every platform, every social media, even search engines now, even Opera GX, dude.
Oh, man.
Everything has to implement some kind of AI functionality, whether it's a chatbot like Snapchat or it's a AI search terms like Bing, which I don't even understand. What's the point of generating AI-generated search terms? Don't you write the search term because it's something you want to know? Why do you need help generating a search term unless you're really bad at creating search terms? But here's what...
I would almost use that, but I know they just abuse it to, push you towards what they want. That's why I hate Google and YouTube search engine these days.
Can I tell you what Opera GX does? Opera GX added a new thing called AI prompts, where it will scan the contents of a web page that you're on.
And guess what you want to search?
Yeah, it'll come up with... Which, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, kind
of.
I don't know how often I'd ever use that.
That's what I'm saying. It just seems unnecessary, but it's not the worst application of AI I've ever seen. It's basically if you're reading a news article, it'll automatically come up with prompts for you to search more about it. But here's the thing. Why don't they just say generated prompts or just prompts or something? Why do they... It's like they have to throw in the word AI to make it appealing. It's like it's only appealing, or they think it's only appealing. I've
literally heard people saying AI to refer to stuff that's not even a generative or adaptive AI. It's literally just there's a character in the game that responds to things you do. And they want people to say, hey, but it's AI. It's AI though. That thing you're into. It's AI. It's there's AI in here.
This kind of stuff... Again, it's old technology, and I'm sorry about the microphone peaking right there. There's nothing I could do about that.
Sorry.
It's old technology because
this is part of the podcast.
Is Google Chrome going to change their translation to AI translation? No, they've always just called it translation.
Yeah.
You can translate a web
page. But it is an AI. And it's AI. It's taking it's learning, too, because it gets it from other sources.
Exactly. But are they going to change that now to say, use Google AI translate?
I bet you're going to predict it. Oh, my goodness. By the time this video's out, there's going to be AI generated... It's going to be in the name, and also Jimmy Carter's going to be dead. and we're both going to be
And Jimmy
prophets.
Fallon is going to create his own line of NFTs. But yeah, no, it's just absurd to me how it's just putting the word AI makes it, or they think at least, that it's going to make it appealing to some group of people.
It does for a very small group of people, and then the others just run away from it. And you shouldn't run away from it because it's the same thing in this case. But there are people who are literally like have AI phobia now. Like there were people.
I'm about to talk about this.
Yes, go.
Wait, is it the Spider-Verse thing?
Yes.
Dude,
we're crazy. We're insane. We haven't seen the new Spider-Verse, by the way, yet. So don't spoil it for us in the comments.
First, I was going to say, it's bad.
Our sister went without us. We wanted to go with her.
It's bad when even Elon Musk makes fun of it. I saw Elon Musk making fun of I told you about how I get...
Dude,
on Twitter.
I hate it when Elon Musk does something that makes sense, and
it's like
okay, so you know how to be a likable person. Why don't you actually?
Guy you really hate makes a good point.
Yeah, I love that one.
But I told you about how on my For You page on Twitter, I just constantly get recommended the complete randos that bought a blue check mark, but they're complete randos. It's these they've always been around that claim they're like productivity gurus or stuff like that. It's like
it's like the brain equivalent of Alpha Man.
It is. And every tweet is like top 10 AI tools you didn't know could do this, or top 10 AI tools you're missing out on, or top 10 things that you could be doing faster with AI.
Yeah,
and for some reason, it's like something with the Twitter algorithm where it's pushing those tweets that are always like top 10 AI. Elon Musk made a tweet making fun of it, saying like top 10 blah 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 blah. Like he just did some sarcastic thing making fun of it. I was like, it's bad. Which Elon Musk signed that thing, some kind of what's the term for it? Some kind of paper about how like AI needs to be halted before it goes too far.
Well, this is where I didn't, because you remember the classic Elon Musk rant. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just use the timestamps. Click on the thumbnail that has Elon Musk looming over ominously.
Use the Opera GX AI prompts, and it'll know.
I got so mad because Elon Musk is such a huge hypocrite. One of the other people who signed that document or whatever.
Elon Musk is a crip?
He's a crip, and I'm a blood. But he's such a huge hypocrite because he only wants to look good. He's trying to keep up appearances. Because I told you, he's talking about this AI is going to doom us all. And he's been doing this for years before the huge AI boom in like popularity. Yet he's got like this AI butler. He's programming on the side with... It's not Neuralink. Tesla. It's one of his side companies.
Neuralink.
Yes, Neuralink. Dude, oh man, you keep bringing up things.
No, we can't talk about Neuralink. There's not enough time.
And then, he's got these self-driving cars. That's AI too. They're even adaptive learning and everything. And people are talking about how they're not even safe too. One of the other people who signed the document was like calling Elon Musk out, being a bit of a... He was being passive aggressive about it, saying his AI doesn't even work. If you want to see bad AI, he's actually a good example. And he's such a huge hypocrite. But other people who signed that document, the like father of AI, who's working at Google, that was his title, to fans of him. He quit Google and is now talking about how dangerous this is. There are people talking about how this can be used in propaganda and all this. I saw this in propaganda. They were like people showing like wartime photos from like not wartime, but it was like that style from like the protests in France, but they were all fake. They were made with AI, but they were pretty convincing until you looked really closely at the hands. But most of them tried to keep the hands out of frame. It's really, we're living in that dystopia.
You gotta generate images and be like, just don't try with the hands. Cover the hands up with an
cover
object.
The hands up. Dude, there's so many things I can talk about, but you need to go back to your Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so I'm assuming we saw the same tweet or the same...
I think so, whatever. Yes. Well, I mean, you haven't discussed it yet, so...
But it was a clip. So first of all, the tweet said, just a reminder that even in the first Spider-Verse movie, they were using AI.
Yes, exactly. But it's
no. Yeah, let me actually. You can't talk about it before you explain what it is.
You go.
And then they included a clip of the Spider-Verse, like some art director,
like behind the scenes,
right? Some director of art or something, talking about how they animated Miles Morales in the first Spider-Verse to have the like cartoony comic book sketchy style, even though it's a 3D model that they're animating, but from different angles of the 3D model, you want different parts of his face to be like outlined.
Yes.
Like if you're looking at it from underneath, then a certain like outline around his nose should be visible. Like if you were drawing it in a comic book style, as if you're drawing 2D. So they have interesting ways, and they actually this is tangent, but they did this with the Peanuts movie too.
I didn't know
not
that.
In the same way, but they had different models for Charlie Brown's face depending on which way he was facing. Is a cool thing. You should look it up if you're interested in that kind of thing. But anyways, so basically, when you're working with 3D models, animating them, well, 2D art is stylized, so you can't, like, a 3D model is an actual object, and you have to stylize it somehow. So basically, what they did is they had artists, real-life artists,
yes,
create training data for an AI where they outlined a bunch of pictures of Miles Morales' face in a bunch of different positions and frames to train an AI to understand how, at different angles, his face should look as a 2D stylization. So artists, and by the way, AI, to be effective, needs a ton of training data. So I can only imagine how many poses and how many images these artists had to draw to train the AI. But obviously there's a trade-off that makes it more worth, doing it all by hand.
Yeah.
But so they create training data for the AI, and the AI is able to learn and understand how his face should be drawn, stylized in 2D, and where to apply the outlines to make it look right. And this Twitter user
thought that people would perceive that as problematic.
Yes, thought that's bad. We're eliminating artist's job, and AI just as a blanket statement. AI is bad
because the artists who are using it made the stuff that it's using.
But luckily, a lot of people were roasting them and saying how brain dead they were and stuff, and how. Admittedly,
look at this artist using their own tools.
The whole AI thing has just created such a polarization. It's what we see with every kind of controversy in society, politics and everything. It's just it becomes so aggravating and polarizing that people can't even realize when they're just completely on the extreme end. They're not what they're saying. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even make sense anymore. Because again, and this is the first Spider-Verse movie, as they said. This is before the whole AI boom happened. But that just goes to show you how much AI has been used for years. But
it was never controversial because they weren't pooling up a bunch of other people's art to run in through a mill.
They created their own training data to make an AI that could draw how they wanted it to. There is nothing problematic about that. In fact, I think it's really cool. As somebody who's interested in art and computer science, I think that is
we're tech and art geeks
an example of the perfect application of artificial intelligence.
We literally talked about this in our AI episode, which was that also the Elon Musk one?
I believe so. Yeah, we did talk about this. That is the perfect application of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and what it should be used for. So please think before you say stuff like that. But it's just crazy because it goes to show how it's just become such a touchy,
buzzword.
There's
you just say it and you expect people to start screaming.
There's no meaningful conversation around it at this point, really. Because people don't even, and I think it's a lot of people don't even understand what they're talking about, or not everybody understands what they're talking about, because clearly that person did not understand what they're talking about, and they're just thinking that they can jump on the bandwagon and talk about something that they don't understand. But shout out to Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I really want to see it.
One of, if not my favorite movies of all time, so I'm sure the second one
Wait, the first one I've seen.
The first one, yes. So I'm sure the second one, Across the Spider-Verse, is going to be one of, if not my favorite.
Have not seen it yet, but I am so hyped. Bro, I kicked this off thinking it was going to be an internal introspective episode. No, this was all
not at
roasting
all.
Society.
Well, we have 8 minutes left, or 7 if we're stopping at 29.
7 minutes.
Do you have anything else to talk about?
Yes. Hypocritically, I am now a member of Society.
Oh, we're wrapping up with a little bit of personal talk.
It's the connection between the two.
Well, this is how this almost ruined the episode because you were depressed about this.
No, I wasn't. Well, I wasn't depressed about this. Well, I said something. I forgot what I said.
I asked you if you were going to buy a microphone so that we can, you can use Discord on your PC. You can have calls on your PC.
And so I don't have to borrow your microphone when we do the podcast.
And so that we can, play Terraria together and record it and stuff. Because I'm still waiting to play Terraria.
And then I said something like, I'm going to be working. When will I have time to do a podcast?
Yeah, you said,
but I mean, it's
what would
true.
I need it for? What would I need it for?
It's true. When I have 100% free time, I can maybe code 5 lines a day. I'm just, and the thing is, in college, I developed chronic work phobia. And now, through this whole process of applying to this job, I have, for the first time in my life, I've always considered myself, I used to consider myself an introvert. Now I think I'm more an ambivert, but I never considered myself socially anxious. I have legitimate social anxiety now. I went to go see a friend the other day, and I felt nervous for no good reason. I wanted to start this podcast, and I thought I was going to throw up. And this isn't even an actual social interaction. It's social anxiety isn't the best word, but it's very close.
Am I not a person?
Well, yes, but I would never get socially anxious around you, bro. But it's playing off of what I already had, which is more of this. I have huge performance anxiety, which in a social situation is equivalent to social anxiety.
See, you're just like Link.
I cannot.
You're just like Link, because he had to do a solo podcast when Rhett was away on vacation.
No!
And he talked about how the whole time he was so nervous, like performance anxiety, that he couldn't do it on his own. So maybe you are Link.
Dude. It's true, though. It's so bad. Anytime I'm involved in something that other people are aware of and that has consequences and, like, dependencies, I freak out. And it got worse over all these interviews that I was doing because they made me so nervous. And all these papers I had to sign. I went through, like, 27 layers of bureaucracy, and I'm now working for, like, 6 companies through, like, a chain link effect.
Okay, well, here's the thing that you need to understand. After doing that once, you realize that paperwork is meaningless. Nothing is as good as it claims to be. It's all just legal protection, but nothing is as powerful.
You were totally right when you said I could have put butt cheeks as my name on one of those forms.
That's what I'm saying. Nothing is as powerful as you think it is.
I read all the privacy policies, though. I'm not letting them pull a fast one on me.
Everything is more fallible than you think it is. All of that paperwork stuff is more fallible than you think it is, and you just need to ignore it and move through it because it's kind of just how the way it works.
But yeah, I had to get this. This podcast was very last minute, last second even. This is the day before it has to go up, and I haven't done anything but start recording. And we haven't even finished because we're speaking it right now, obviously, getting meta with it. But yeah, because I'm gonna be employed soon, temporarily. It is a paid internship.
A nicely paid internship.
Yeah.
Which means
don't tell them how much.
I'm not. I've just said it's nicely paid, which means that let's just say after a very short amount of time working, you could buy a microphone. Easily.
It's just I've become aware, and I wanted more time to talk about this. I wrote like a whole list.
And you could buy a chair because that thing is really
back when there was a thing that happened like around last Christmas where I had been accepted to a unpaid and much less demanding internship, but then they canceled on me at the last second because like their lead guy quit and they needed to focus all their resources on finding a replacement for him before they could even have enough people on board to like train me to know what I was doing, and so that fell through. But I ever since then I've been writing notes in my big podcast topics folder, and I don't even have them on my phone because I didn't take a picture this far down. I don't think. Maybe I did. No, I did. About how I feel about work and about my goals in life, and I don't have enough time to talk about it. Well, I might. But maybe not articulately.
Save that for the next episode.
But it's really complicated because I have every experience I've had attempting to balance my work and my passion has just made me more bad at doing both. Like I told you, college made me extremely work phobic. It destroyed my work ethic irreparably. And I only recently have recovered a little.
That's weird because college has made my work ethic like 10 times
I
stronger.
know. What is up with you? You're crazy. He's getting a master's. He's mastering.
Not necessarily.
He's getting a speed master's.
I could.
But is it back on the table? You took it off the table and then you put it back down?
Well, I don't. I haven't decided yet. I don't have to decide yet. That's the thing.
Okay.
I'm able to.
Dude, I love it when you don't have to decide yet.
Exactly. Well, I kind of got disillusioned about the whole thing after my favorite professor. I learned that my favorite professor is leaving because basically all the other people in the CS department, the older tenured professors, bully the younger professors and hate them, and there's like a huge rift within the department. And
you are amazing, though. You would turn that system on its head.
Maybe college is as stupid as I always thought it was.
That's my other problem. I'm getting into my other things.
I started to fall into the trap of thinking, wow, some of these professors are really cool, which they are. But the college system as a whole, it's proven itself to be as stupid as I always thought it was.
That's why that's my problem with getting into the workforce in general. I'm not anti-work in the sense that a lot of people think nowadays. I'm not against that. I'm very pro-work in that sense. The only problem is there is nothing in this modern society worth working for anymore. Everything is handled by these big companies that like aren't doing anything particularly meaningful. It feels like anymore, and they're filled with so much problematicism. Is that a word? It is now. I just can't. I can't deal with it. I can't support this, but yet every option I have is like that.
I think I agree with you.
Except self-employment.
I think I agree with
Maybe.
you. Maybe.
I still have to work through society's shortcomings as a whole.
I think I agree with you, but I have the mental willpower to ignore all of that and buy into it anyway.
But should you? Do you have a moral obligation to not ignore?
Well, it's more of escapism. I escape in doing the things like taking up woodworking as a
the escape
hobby.
Pod. We're escaping.
There you go. But no, really, that's why I do stuff like build a random box, like I'm doing now. It's just a way.
It's like Dad with his puzzles.
My life is meaningless without some kind of artistic or creative expression.
Exactly, and that's why I'm so worried, because I can't balance those two. I'm just not cut out for it.
I think you got.
And I'm becoming increasingly less cut out for it.
I think you got to give it a try, and you never know what things can change. But I think the worst thing you can do is set yourself up for it, expecting that that's what's going to happen. I think you got to keep an open mind.
I'm never gonna give up. I can't give up. I'm pessimistic, but I am never forfeitful.
Forfeitful.
I'm making up so many words.
You're never a shoe thrower.
Yeah.
What is it called?
No, that's sabotage.
Oh. Yeah, but
that's a completely different word.
Forfeiting is self-sabotage.
Yeah, I've learned to self-sabotage over the years. I'm telling you, this whole system is making me a worse person, and yet somehow I'm supposed to emerge from it stronger.
This is consequences of living with TISM, Jonathan.
I'm glad master's degree is back on the table, though. Maybe discussing it on a public video isn't the best idea, but I did want to discuss that with you.
Back on or back off? What do you mean?
Back on, because back when it was initially on the table, you made it sound like you wanted to discuss it with me, and then I missed out, and you took it off the table. But now it's back on, so I got my chance.
Yeah, like a year passed, and you never mentioned it.
I'm scared to bring stuff up like this, dude.
I'm fine with discussing it on the podcast.
Because I have social anxiety now. I can't take the initiative in situations. Our parents have
no clue about it still. They thought I was joking about it, so...
Yeah, well, you straight up, told Mom. And then Dad was just like, is this a joke? Jason, you gotta understand, Jason has, boy who cried wolf syndrome. Our sister ran over his foot the other day. What kind of laugh was that? You turned into Boba Esponja.
Boba Esponja. If you don't get the Boba Esponja joke, you have to watch episode 23.5. 26.5.
You went way back. 23.5. She ran over his foot when he was getting out of the car. And he was just like, oh, hey, Kristen, you're running over my foot. Just so you know, you're running over my foot.
That is not true.
He says everything
I said, you're running on my foot. You're running over my foot. You're running over my foot. He said, which admittedly is not the most scared sound.
You should have gone like, ah!
Yeah, but it didn't hurt that bad. I was lucky that it was barely on the back of my heel.
Jason is
so I came out mostly unscathed.
Jason is very deadpan, and he will joke about anything, no matter how... Well, I don't want to make him sound like an edgelord, but he will joke about anything... Oftentimes in disregard
anything that doesn't hurt other people, usually.
Yes.
To an extreme extent.
Usually. And then he'll only stop after the second time you tell him to cut it out. So we don't know when to take him serious anymore because he never sounds serious. And he never talks serious if he doesn't have to. And so she had to do like a double take. She was like, am I actually running over your foot? And I did too for a second. I wasn't sure if you were being serious because you didn't sound serious.
The problem is I didn't say what I needed to say, which was stop moving the car forward.
Yeah,
because I couldn't think that fast.
I started teaming up because I was on the other side of the car. I was like, run over me instead.
I was just thinking, okay, first I need to make it known that my foot is being run over. But I knew that what happened is I was able.
Bro, you look so classy holding this. I mean, it's a fidget spinner thing, but you've got the pen and you've got the newsboy hat on. You look like some sort of
what happened is that
smart guy you'd run into the park in the 80s.
What happened is that I was lucky that it caught on the back of my foot, and so it caught my shoe. But because it caught my shoe, that basically meant I had something like a sleeve to slide my foot out of. If I hadn't been wearing a shoe,
your shoe got more destroyed than your foot.
It would have been bad. But because it was in a shoe, I could slide it out under the tire by sliding it out of my shoe. So basically all that I needed to happen was the car to stop moving, but I just couldn't think that fast, so I was like, you're running over my foot, and I realized I didn't explain what needed to happen, so then she started putting it in reverse.
Yeah, because she thought your foot was on the other side of the wheel.
She put it in reverse and started crunching over it the other direction. But yeah, it was fine. Millimeters could have made the difference there, but luckily I was unhurt, mostly. It recovered within hours, so... But anyways, look, we passed the.
Bro, do you want to go? So. Do you want to go 2 hours and 22 minutes and 22 seconds?
Absolutely not.
What if actually that'd be like There'd be like a combination selling point and like what's the word? Like a compensation mechanism. Every time we go on a hiatus, we come back and we're like, now it's 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 22 seconds.
I'm willing to do that. It's also motivation to not go on a hiatus.
Exactly. Because like I said, we get this huge backlog.
I'm willing,
and 2 hours isn't enough to recover from that backlog even.
I'm willing to do that in the future, but not today.
Not today, because his girlfriend's coming over.
That's true.
My girlfriend's going to be
And
here.
I have to use the bathroom.
I'm sweating.
Both ways. I am sweating, and I want to eat lunch, and I'm tired.
Wow,
so basically,
dude, really piling it on.
Was there anything else I was going to talk about?
Okay. I have to save it.
Well, let's do teasers for next time.
Teasers? Ooh.
Yeah. Next time. No, I don't have.
You don't have any
actually
teasers?
the only next time we're going to talk more psychological probably. Unless something crazy happens.
Oh yes, we're definitely going to
I caught up on my backlog, but we're going to talk probably more personal stuff.
Yo.
I
can't. I just realized something, but I can't talk about it because we had a deal.
Okay. Mario?
No, you broke it. Well, specific aspect of Mario.
I'm talking about Mario.
Without even trying, I didn't bring it up.
No. I'm talking about our neighbor, Mario, our friend.
Yeah, our friend Mario.
He's
his favorite movie. We're not going to talk about it. But I ended up not talking about it anyways. But in the next episode, I might talk about things that are tangentially related to it enough that we'll bring it up in passing.
Oh, well, I was gonna hint at next time we were gonna talk about the rumored Legend of Zelda film.
Oh yes, that exactly.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was actually about to say.
But yeah, my thing is the next episode. I intend to talk a little bit about Nintendo video games.
I want to talk about Pikmin 4 a little bit.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about this today. It's really a minor thing, so I don't know if I want to talk about it. But I was gonna talk about rainbow logos, rainbow company logos.
Rainbow logos. Oh yeah. The age-old.
Well, I was going to talk about how there's less now and why that might be.
Because they finally started getting back.
You can't ruin my talking point before I talk about it.
Okay.
And I was going to talk about Mac DeMarco and his relationship with Jonathan.
Wait, who?
Actually, I can talk about that right now.
Who? What?
No, I just wanted to talk about how it's old news now, but Mac DeMarco's album that he released.
Who's Mac DeMarco?
Of like 100, an artist. Of like 100 demos. I actually don't, it's like 400 songs. And they're all just at one day that he made a demo for like years since the pandemic. And he released an album of 400 songs, and I wrote Mac DeMarco equals Jonathan.
Dude,
because you make so many songs, like once a day. Yeah.
I have over 300.
Oh, well, you didn't beat Mac DeMarco then. I think it's like...
Well, actually, non-lyrical, I have over thousands. Tens of thousands,
Mac DeMarco album. It can't be 400. I need to figure out how many it is, though.
If you promise me you'll look away, I'll do a search for all tagged lyrics in my music document. Because I don't want you to see the actual lyrics.
We just need to end the episode. But hold on, let me find this first.
Okay, well then I'll talk about the other things I was going to talk about. I was going to maybe talk a bit more about AI in reference to art.
It's $199.
I beat him. Trash. I win. And then also the big thing I was going to talk about is maybe a little bit more about new problems with YouTube and Twitter, specifically with their interfaces and stuff. But the big thing is, the actual biggest thing right now that I'm surprised we didn't get into that's going on is the writer's strike.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about that, which is probably good. We had plenty other to talk about.
And going off of what you just said, I also want to talk about the possible death of short-form video and resurgence of long-form video.
Yes.
And with that, thanks for
watching.
Join
us next time.
There's some dead space maybe you should cut out.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
there where I thought you were going to say something. And then
yeah, and then I was looking up.
I make a promise to only edit right near the end and right near the beginning of these videos. You can edit, and only in severe situations.
You can edit the spots where we would have benefited if we had a Jamie.
A Jamie? Oh yeah, Jamie. Can you pull this up? Exactly.
But anyways,
dude, we need a Jamie.
We do.
Yo, dude, remember Drayden, or no, was it Yvonne? No, or one of them. I told you, hey, we need a guest on the podcast. They're your friend. We should bring them on. Well, they're extremely antisocial. Or was it Michael? Maybe I don't know. Yeah, and you're Michael. Like, they would never. And I was like, be our Jamie. We'll just be like, pull it up.
Wait, Michael would be so funny on a podcast.
Would he?
Because
as a Jamie or as a speaker?
No, as a speaker.
But you said he's terribly. He's too shy.
Yeah, because he wouldn't want to speak. But
I'm shy normally though. You talk. No. If you showed the people outside of this family who know me, which are not many,
he
would
be like Ferb. He would be like Ferb and Phineas and Ferb, but it would be funny.
No, dude, honestly, that's what people think I am. They think I'm the Ferb.
Look, Jonathan, this is too long. We're teasing way too much stuff. I mean, this has been a whole mini podcast of just teasers. We have to stop. We have to end it.
Okay. See you next time.
I've been the bro. We didn't do that at the beginning. It's over.
We didn't. Oh my goodness. Am I going to have to make an animation or something to show it off?
Nah.
I do always think when like a new person comes up, do they know which one of us is speaking?
Wait.
Like maybe they think you're the question mark
I can't
guy.
remember what we decided.
I'm the question mark guy.
Are you the host and I'm the bro host, or are you the bro host and I'm the co-host?
The thing is, there is no host because we're doing it together. So we're both co-hosts. But to make it a pun, one of us is the bro host.
So you're the bro
host.
host.
And because this channel, even though I'm in charge of it, it stemmed off of yours. I'm the bro host because people used to know me as your bro. Okay. Even though we're also both bros. So we're both bro hosts.
Thanks for watching.
We're both co-hosts. We're both hosts.
Subscribe for the next episode that's going to be Liddy like a...
Kitty. And more confusion about our names.
I'm the co-host.
And I'm the bro host.
Signing off.
And see you on the next episode of what we're still kind of just calling the podcast, but which will eventually be fully rebranded as the Escape Pod. See you next. Okay. Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're terrible with names. Hopefully you're not terrible with keeping up with our videos, and hopefully we aren't terrible with making them. See you next time. Bye. Spacebar.